What's going on, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I'm glad we're all together here right now. This morning over here where I'm at, looking forward to this session over here. We got some continued big moves. We've seen the indexes basically retrace everything that occurred yesterday. That's why we do what we do. We're going to take a look at it now. We're going to take a look at what's going on with the dollar. We're going to take a look at what's going on across all the markets. We're going to really get a good feel for what's going on right now. I'm going to start with Bitcoin, though, before we get into the indexes this morning. Just want to say this is Bitcoin on the daily time frame. If you just step back a little bit, just get a bigger, better perspective. We're kind of like between what I see over here is as support and resistance, just consolidating right here. And although it's not no man's land, it's really no man's land because I don't really have an edge to say what the next move is on Bitcoin, right? I would not, I give it 50-50 whether we go from here to here. And right now with this price action, there's not much of a read. No problem. Everyone's still holding very, very, very strong, having a very clear understanding of not only the cycle, but where we're at in that cycle right now. By the way, if you missed it on Twitter over the weekend, I put out this comment. If you're watching or waiting for a 30% pullback on Bitcoin, at this time, at this level, you're too soon. Check your calculations. But a pullback over into here, into 14.4, or what, even back towards 12.5, those things could happen. Those things could happen. We'll just watch and wait to see what's next. There's no edge there. There's no edge there today. What's going on the S&P 500 is very interesting technically. By the way, great morning to you all. Great morning, Austin, to see Austin, Texas. S&P 500, you could see that we had that wild breakout on the vaccine news yesterday morning, pre-market, right? And you could see that it's totally, completely been retraced. Yesterday, I used the words that the market was overreacting, and it kind of rubbed some people the wrong way, but that's just what markets do all the time. Markets react and then reprice, react and reprice. Look over here right now. You can see that we are coming right back into what? For a retest of that broken breakout, of the broken resistance, to see if it holds as support. Is this setting up for something that you want to be interested in? Yesterday was not interesting whatsoever because it had gone too far too fast. Today we're back towards the level where we want to actually be involved here. And, you know, it's something to think about. You hear my pause? We're going to watch what happens. I'm watching to see if we resume out of this right now. No question about that. Or I'm watching to see if we're able to consolidate without breaking below there. Both those things would be very bullish. You all know that I was looking for the equity markets above here. I feel like there's a lot of moving pieces, though, right now that need to be settled that are not settled out there. There are a lot of unknowns. I know the market does not like unknowns. This market is not trading normal right now. Let me get the sweater off. This market is not trading normal right now. So just be aware. Nevertheless, we are swing traders. We could get in and out without getting hurt. And on the contrary, could do our thing. So we'll keep watching this over here. Yes, Alan, 100%. There's no question about it. Why equities are more attractive on that technical breakout, or I should say the S&P, because the Nasdaq is not joining. Equities are risky. Equities are risky. All right. So Dow theory, we talked about that last night, Chris, in the afternoon update, because right over here, Nasdaq is not breaking out over here. Nasdaq has been rejected. You can see this nasty candle over here, the breakout. Never trade breakouts because it's a very low probability trade. And then you could see that coming back in for the retest, it was a failed breakout. What does this mean? Well, let me go ahead and just get rid of that circle over there. Well, that's not bullish, right? And it's not bullish that all the indexes are not, acting in unison here or confirming each other. Nevertheless, we're back neutral on the Nasdaq, right? We're back into the consolidation area, all right? Well, that makes it clear. Let's just keep things simple and keep moving along. There's no need to complicate something. The Russell over here, this is the Dow, sorry. The Dow is kind of maintaining above this breakout. You can see that it made new all-time highs and was rejected. So that's not a clear read either, all right? Well, that actually makes more sense. I'd rather the markets don't have such clarity right now because they shouldn't. But the S&P so far today is the one showing the most strength technically. We didn't get into the Russell yet. Pay attention over here. If we get a resumption over here, out of here, is this something that you are interested in? It's a good-looking trade. The only bad thing about it is look at the trajectory of that is straight up. Nevertheless, that's when price gets going. Sometimes we get into those parabolic moves with those. Not that this is a real parabolic move, but what I refer to on our, something that could last 2 or 3 weeks. Russell, let's check it out over here. Russell, just like the Dow, is above that last bit of resistance, marking as support. Went on to new all-time highs and is rejected. Okay, so we have a mixed market. The S&P, the Russell, the Dow, all looking and still holding on to yesterday's breakout, and the Nasdaq has retraced it and faded it. By the way, you all know I don't really look at the DAX at all, but pay attention to what we're seeing over here with the release of the COVID vaccine. That means that we could be entering a transition period, right? The DAX, we could see the DAX lead next year. That could be the surprise index next year. Just make a mental note of that. I had said it before on a live stream with all of you. I'm saying it again now. Here's the DXY. This is leaving me very unsettled, right? Not unsettled like unsettled is I don't know what's next, right? You can see over here so far, this little bit of resistance is holding as resistance. But well, I guess as unsettled as I am, that's the DXY right now. I don't think, well, if we break out above this trend line today, I won't call that, I won't be looking for a bullish move over here. What level, in your view, do we need to break here to the upside to think that we're seeing signs of perhaps a strengthening dollar and a counter trend? For me, I have to say that right now it's above 94. It's above 94, or in that area over there, 94 and a quarter. Until we get above there in this area right over here, I'm not sold that we're seeing any type of a counter trend move or beginning of a counter trend move. I'm you could hear my voice very well. Some of the tech was repriced just a few weeks ago. We're back to normal. Tech will be the future. Yeah, well, hold on one second. Yes, I agree 100% when you say tech is the future. There's no question about that. They have a lower cost of doing business. They're more efficient. Tech is deflationary, right? They take away jobs. There's a reason for it. I fully believe that. But you're not going to get a move that is a one-line straight move all the time. Don't forget, tech is also the most crowded trade on Wall Street, number one. Number two, things move in ebbs and flows. So I agree with that, though. That's a true statement. 95, looking for 95 in order. Yeah, the vaccine is anyway, we don't need to get into that right now. 95 up here, yeah, that would be well confirmed. We'll try to get ahead of that, ahead of 95 though. Let's check out what's going on this morning on gold, and you can see that gold has so far is coming in for that retest. See that trend line over here, that broken trend line, this broken support yesterday. Gold traded, pierced below them, coming in now for the retest. So far, the high right there you could see is exactly into the trend line, right? So is gold in a pretty precarious situation? I think so. I think that gold could go either which way from here, and I wouldn't be surprised if we're able to close back above that trend line and then, take away that negative impulse here, that break of the trend line and the break of the support. Well, we could resume down out of this. There's no edge whatsoever that I see right here today. What about what's going on? Hold on one second. Got it. All right. So this is silver we're looking at, and very similar to what just happened in gold. And worse. This is where price is right now, right? It could go either way. And that's what I said yesterday as both gold and silver were trading on their lows. during the afternoon update, they were trading at their lows. And I said, it's too soon to call this, as we just witnessed a technical breakdown. It's too close. We need to see what happens, and that's where we are today. It could go either which way from here. So no edge for me there whatsoever. Oil bid this morning, interesting, right? Looking at, this is WTI oil coming back towards top of resistance. Interesting here, though, that interesting to see oil on the bid here. Equities, probably you could call them mixed this morning, but they're off yesterday's highs. Russell's trading up pretty well. Nasdaq's trading down pretty well. They're just mixed. Interesting. But so let's look at that, by the way, Benjamin. Let's look at the silver right now. Let's see if this is conquering the markets. And so, hold on one second. I wish Google was able to go ahead and in the description below put the timestamp for every pair we look at. It would make it really easy for myself later in the day going back to look at the different pairs as well as everyone else. I don't know about that. I feel like this is the breakout. The retest I want to happen above that trend line, and it didn't. That will be conquering the markets all day long. We definitely we breached that trend line. We're trading below it, and now we're trading right at it. So for me, it's not clear, and I'm just looking for clarity. This could be rejected here, or this could make it above over here. Right now, though, standing aside today and just waiting for further clarity makes a lot of sense. So that's where I'm at on that. That's right, oil back towards the resistance. This is on the 8-hour off of the support. Let's look. Bitcoin, we know. Excuse me one second. All right. Bitcoin, we know, and it's kind of, again, no man's land. I don't see which way to go from here. By the way, 1,200 people in here. If you are here enjoying the session, glad to be here. Go ahead, smash that like button. Do appreciate that very much. Definitely, ML. Glad to see you back in here. Always a joy hearing that music, getting here, seeing the good mornings. Let's take a look at some crypto over here. We got Ethereum. I'm going to come back on the daily time frame. Natural gas, I mean, I don't have a read on it. Hold on. Ethereum. Well, she's working her way towards that 500. Everything's paused over here. Even Ethereum, you could see it paused. It's just like Bitcoin. I looked at Bitcoin. I said we kind of have no edge. I see similar on Ethereum, right? It's kind of becoming clear is that we're going to be able to see whether you're looking at Bitcoin. You can see that, we're consolidating over here. We're going to be able to soon see which way we go, but I don't have an edge ahead of time. There's no way. Litecoin looking pretty good, actually pulled back into a little bit area of support over there. XRP leading the charge up 2% today, leading the altcoins from what I have up over here, and off that support. Looks pretty good. This actually also Monero looks very good over here. You can see Monero is showing that consolidation over there, that pullback, and this is what the trend has been from Monero. Consolidate and then leg up. When Chainlink also up 2% today. Chainlink flirting with the area that I have marked at $12.90. Above that, I think Chainlink's going to be seeing close to 16 and above pretty quickly. So all it's getting ready for perhaps a nice move over here. Ethereum, Bitcoin, I mean, I just expect in the next 3 to 6 months for actually Ethereum to outperform. Polkadot. So the question, there's a couple of questions. Talking about the 1 second. There's a couple. I mean, I don't know what to make of that. That thing's coiled and ready to explode, though, right? Which way do you think it's going to explode? I mean, in my opinion, here we haven't even begun all season. It's going to be just explosive over the next 12 months. I think that a rising tide lifts all boats, as long as that the project being built has some type of transparency to it, and they're trying to do the right thing. I think that we're going to see all of crypto move over here. I think there's a big difference between trying to trade crypto and then there is, FX, especially during this alt season over here. So you got a big tide at your back. All right, let's get in. Let's look over here at all across FX. I want to get a really good look for what's going on over here. A subdued dollar is good for gold. I don't know what. I really have this outlook, and I'm really glad that I have it. That today in the markets, this is Tuesday now. We haven't really talked about it, but the fact of the matter is that this election is still being contested, right? And that's a big unknown, and we could start seeing over the course of the next week, we could start seeing some major changes. And I don't know how the market's going to react to that, And why I wish that we were back towards what the rest of the year looked like when everything was like clear. And there were many times that actually things were very easy in 2020. This is not the read I have on the markets right now. Now, I am seeing, a nice clear setup here, possibly on the S&P 500. And that's something worth noting. And hopefully now as I get into FX, there's other clarity. But I have to be honest, the only thing that's been clear is Bitcoin, right? Nevertheless, that's the heart of the trade. The question is should that be your only trade? Well, I think Gemma brought it up the other day. And, she was like, well, should this be my only trade? And, for myself personally, if I'm not following the markets, if I'm not participating in the markets, you just kind of lose your flow. So for me, it's absolutely critical. It's essential for what I do to be not only participating across the markets, but definitely analyzing them and feeling the pulse. However, you all also know where the majority of my investment is. Yeah, so before we move forward, let's look at where tech might actually be an opportunity, right? So let's look at what type of support we have, where the next big support is, or, a couple of things that come to my mind. First of all, right, this is when it gets the toughest. What do I mean by that? Like, if we come back and we test sorry about that angle over there. If we come back and we test the bottom of this range over here, right? That's when it's the toughest. That's when the most people have the fear. But if we get a resumption off of that, that's from a probability standpoint, a high probability trade. You are still dealing with an uptrend over here, the consolidation pattern that we expect is going to break to the upside. Now, if it breaks down, that also opens up an event where there's further downside. No problem about that. But if you get a resumption off of over here, this is a place to lean in with comfort. Not saying it's going to work out, not saying it's going to be easy, but that's the place to lean into. Now, also right here, though, I feel like we're in no man's land. Sometime, if we hadn't broke out over here and we just rejected by that resistance, came down over to here, sometimes I'll take this trade over here, preemptive of the breakout, but for a good reason. But because that we just had this fake out above right now, I won't be looking to do that. I'd rather wait now to see if we break out again to the upside. And if we break out again to the upside, then the Nasdaq also becomes, opening up an opportunity to get involved on the long side. So it's either off the support down over here or breaking above the resistance over there. And right now, we're kind of just waiting because we just had a fake breakout. And there we are. There we go. Yeah, I don't know about, and I'm not trying to follow. I'm honest. I'm like, look, just all I could say about the election is right now is that it's a very unclear picture, right? And look, we're looking at, as traders, what the market's looking at, and what America. I mean, America just wants clarity, and they want fairness. So we'll see what happens. But I'm a little hesitant because I feel like a wild card. No, I didn't say easy. I feel like a wild card could be thrown into here. All right. Brad, great morning to you. All right, let's keep going over here. Let me take a look back in. The markets have opened up in about 8 minutes over there. Would you think the best time to buy gold again? So, all right, let's talk about it. I'm a big gold guy, right? But I just want you to think about, if you haven't seen the Real Vision interview with Raoul Pal and Michael Seiler, the CEO of MicroStrategy, that should be your homework assignment. I really think that is really required listening for everyone. It's a fantastic interview. In the interview though, and Raul also is a gold guy. I mean, and very similar in the fact that both of us have a big position in Bitcoin. In the interview though, when Michael makes the case for Bitcoin over gold, Raul basically is completely sold to the fact that he's like, well, I'm going to be selling all my gold. Whether that's the case or not, and he's probably still holding a small position, but it doesn't make any sense, in my opinion, to be looking at gold over here over Bitcoin because of where Bitcoin is at right now. Again, a lot of people are starting to think like 15,000 Bitcoin, they missed it. Like, first of all, this is something we've been setting up for a while. If you're following the playlist, if you're following the roadmap, everything is going according to plan, right? So, but 15,000 Bitcoin is still cheap. Soon we're not going to be saying that any longer, right? As Bitcoin breaks 20,000 and gets to 30,000, no longer is Bitcoin cheap. Still probably the best investment out there at that particular point, but time is running out. So if you're looking at gold right now, what are you looking to happen on gold? Is it possible that in the next year, gold is trading somewhere around 24,000? Yeah, I would not be surprised at all. I would not be surprised at all if a couple of things happen. First of all, it's very unclear what is going to happen, who's going to win the Senate. I think that's a big deal. I think that the markets were actually pricing in a Biden presidency with a red Senate. And I don't think that's a given at this point. I think it could go either way, and there's a chance that the Senate could go blue. How will the market react? It depends on who's president. So there's a lot of unknowns over here right now. And the reason I bring that up is because I don't know what type of stimulus package we're going to see. I do know that if if the government doesn't participate in a big stimulus package, that probably will see some market pain, and then the Fed come in there. So that's signal to me. But in the near term, anyway, I presented my case. I just want everyone on the right trade. That's all. But all I could do is share information. And nice. I like that podcast. We Study Billionaires. Yeah, and I don't, and at the same time, Gemma, I am a big gold guy, and meaning, listen, a year from now, as I'm exiting my Bitcoin position, I don't really care what the price of gold is. I could really foresee myself buying some packs, or something else. No, Bitcoin is not in a lengthening cycle. Bitcoin, in my opinion, is in a shorter cycle. Bitcoin should be peaking somewhere around, Mike. There is, look, the last cycle was longer than the first cycle. So you have one data point, and people are wondering, is this cycle going to be longer? The way that I have it calculated, Mike, is that it's going to be shorter, that it should be ending sometime around the end of September. The reason for that is if you just take the low of the cycle and count how many days to the halving, less 2% is the length of the next cycle. If you do that that worked in the first cycle, that worked in the second cycle. If you do it again now, that puts the end of the Bitcoin cycle somewhere around September. Now, I've always said, and I'm going to say it again. Listen, if I could get out 25% from the top of Bitcoin, then I'm a hero. And that's really tough to do. I'm not sure that I'll be able to do that, but that's what I'm aiming for, right? So there's many different variables that are going to help with that exit. One of them is the cycle pi indicator I have over here, right? It's not attached to this chart. Either which way, the cycle pi indicator doesn't come default, but you could subscribe to lookintobitcoin.com to get that indicator. I'll be watching how many more months to the next halving, and I'll be watching price action. Those are the things I'll be looking at. But from my research, and my research when it comes to Bitcoin is a little bit unique. Although I favor the stock to flow for a lot of my data set over here. The way that I approach the price targets, the way that I've outlined in the playlist, there is a unique look at Bitcoin. And from what I'm seeing here, that it's going to be towards September of 2021, a shortening cycle that we are experiencing on Bitcoin here. Yeah, I mean, first of all, it's true. Also, listen, and equities might be the thing that a large portion of the capital flows into exiting the Bitcoin. Nothing, in my opinion, is going to compete with Bitcoin over the next, call it, 9 to 12 months. But equities, especially as the currency continues to be devalued, equities are a play against that and will continue to rise. I feel strongly about that. I don't feel that we're anything close to what's going on in Japan. All right, let's take a look. What's going on here as the markets are getting ready to open in 1 minute, and subdued price action going into the open over here. All right, you can see if you drop down to the 8-hour, S&P trying to hold this area of support over here. Broken resistance, breakout, retest. It could resume off and give a buy signal this session coming up right over here. Look, a couple of things. Most of the time, but the traders get tired in their position and give up on it, is actually right before a big move happens. So I don't know clearly if that move is going to be up or down on silver from where we are right now, or the next move at least, because it could go either which way. But I sincerely don't think that anyone, if you don't understand why you should be doing something, then you shouldn't do it. I really firmly believe in that. Why don't I think we're like Japan? Raul says we are. I mean, look, I enjoy listening to what Raul has to say. There's no question about it. But Raul has a way different time frame. I mean, Raul is looking for, first of all, he's looking for the U.S. dollar, Japanese yen to trade above 150 and towards 200. Will he be right about that? I don't know. Right now, he's very wrong about that. You know what I'm saying? Raul has been very wrong about the dollar all year, right? The dollar is very weak this year. The dollar has been devalued versus all of the fiat. Raul just articulates things to a certain degree that are very interesting. Is he right about his whole macro view when it comes to like insolvency? Maybe, it's worth watching, but because Raul says something, that doesn't mean anything. He has not really been on the right side of the trades this year. No disputing that, right? So, you could look at track records. So his, again, I'm up for listening to everyone's viewpoint that I believe could add to the conversation to help me form my own. But, Raul's also looking for 85 cents on the U.S. dollar euro. Is that going to happen? Well, there's a possibility of it, but we're far from that right now. So Raul Pal is the founder of Real Vision. And you know what? I enjoy listening to him. Like I said, last week I listened to some podcast he did, right? Oh, that was with Michael Sire. It was amazing. And there you go. So, if you hold this for 3 or 4 years, it could hit 150 and you could be right. But right now you're really on the wrong side of the trade. So there we go. Let's get into FX. Let's see what's going on over there. More data to bet. Rob, I'm with you on this 100%, and I want to see data from both sides. I'm really, really wary of confirmation bias. It's not a good thing. Yeah, I mean, the guy's also made horrendous calls on Bitcoin. Horrendous calls on Bitcoin. Horrific calls. It seems now that he's done his research and understands where Bitcoin is in the cycle is on the right side. But, like, listen, take everything you hear with a grain of salt. Do your own research. All right, let's take a look at FX. Let's start with the euro, the US dollar. All right, euro, US dollar. Remember yesterday? We were saying, not yet. And now we're just back into what? It's easier to see this than on the DXY. When I looked at the DXY this morning, I'm like, yeah, if we get a move here, I'm not calling a counter trend move, right? This is like back into no man's land as you could ever be. You have support here, resistance here. You're in the middle, and you have all of this here. A lot of noise. So there's zero edge here whatsoever, right? And that's as clear as day. And I like that. I like knowing that something is untradeable and giving no edge, because then I could just move past it. But look, we take everyone, all of us, right, for our good and our bad, for our positives and our faults. And Raul's, he adds a lot to the conversation. I enjoy listening to what he has to say. Doesn't mean that I agree with him or that he's right. Sometimes I do. Euro, Japanese yen. This is giving a nice breakout over here. You see it? This looks interesting right here this morning. I'm going to have to dig deep into this 1 second. Bear with me over here. So this is the bigger picture looking at the daily of the euro US dollar over here. How big is this trend line? How important is that? That was just a rough sketch, huh? I had it connecting these two. Over here it was into play again. Let me come back down. Let me look at the 12-hour over there. I think that in my analysis right now that this area here, this horizontal support is more important than that trend line. Trading above that right now. I'm trying to figure out if I want to take a position or not right here, right now. And I might. So I'm going to just come back to that in a couple of minutes. All right. Can put the podcast. No, you could search that. It's just Real Vision, Michael Saylor, Saylor. All right. So euro, British pound, interesting move on the pound strengthening today. The pound is the strongest currency this session, going into the session over here. But look at this. Do you see that we've come back down and wicked into the lower end of that consolidation pattern, this downward sloping channel, right? Do you see there's also horizontal support there? It's pretty strong. You can see that it's pretty strong over there. Let me come to the daily. You see that area of support and the bottom of the wick there? That's interesting. That is interesting over there. It's hard to say. By the way, just opinion over here. We're about 6 weeks away from when we're supposed to see some type of either deal or no deal. Deal or no deal when it comes to the UK and the EU. I have to say 2021 could be the year of the pound. If they get out of there without a deal, the pound, we're going to have to take a hard look at that. Right now, though, definitely noticing this, but look at the two. For me, this is clarity. This is something that I'm interested in right now. I'm going to fall back to that. This I could see developing, but that's not clear. It's a little aggressive for me. All right, let's keep going. And listen, final note on Raul. Look, he adds a lot to the conversation. The conversation is finance, macro views. The guy doesn't have to be right. That's irrelevant. He's right about a lot of stuff, and like everyone else, there's a lot he's not right about. He's no oracle or anything close to that. But the way that he outlines, or I'm sorry, the way that he outlays and presents different type of situations, I think it's something to pay attention to, and that's it. You know, the year of the bull, is that true? Oh wow, the year of the bull, the year of Bitcoin's, big bazooka. Interesting. Let's keep going over here. I'm going to pass through the euro Swiss franc, and you could see that is coming into an area of resistance. You could see that the Japanese yen is weaker in this moment. The only reason I briefly bring that up is just to be showing you that I'm focused on the euro Japanese yen, not on the euro Swiss franc. Yeah, he's a great communicator. That's a great way to put it. Just want to make sure that no one talks bad about anyone. That's not okay. No need for that. All right, so here we are right now. By the way, thanks for being here. This is true too. This is true too. Listen, and you got to put the two together. Like Jim Rogers, best example ever. I mean, the guy is just incredibly long for incredibly too long because he's just considering fundamentals. You got to. This is 2020. You got to take both wheelhouses. You got to understand the macro view, and you also got to be one heck of a chartist, one heck of a technician, right? So here we are. Euro, Australian dollar, back towards the lower end of this range, back towards this area of support after that fake breakout. All as I could say is that we do break down below after fake out of this consolidation to the upside. It could lead to a powerful move, but I don't see anything worth my time, worth our time right now. Euro Canadian dollar. We had a breakdown of the support yesterday, right? And now what's happening over there? That's interesting here. I think I like it better on a bigger time frame than on the 8-hour, though. I have to be honest with you. Looking at the daily over here, what I'm looking at though is this support has broken, right? Interesting double top over there. Did anyone notice that? It's the first time I'm noticing that double top over there. Yeah, I don't know. This could be setting up, not right now, but this could be setting up. Let's take a look at what's going on with the Aussie pairs. Ooh, AJ, like it. So Australian dollar, US dollar, it's kind of very simple, very simple, very simple. It's kind of very simple. It's very similar to what's going on with the euro US dollar, where we are in that area of no man's land, right? And you can see us right over here. And the dollar's not clear. It's the first thing I started with, the DXY. People wonder why I consult the DXY if it's not something that I'm trading, or if I base my trading around it. And it's just to get that clarity on the dollar. And then today, this morning, it was just not clear, right? And I'm seeing that reflected right now in US dollar pairs as I've looked at the euro US dollar and I've looked at the Australian US dollar. So again, that's clarity. That means I don't want to focus on the US dollar. Seeing some interest on the Japanese yen, so let me check out other Japanese yen pairs, right? I'm looking here at the pound Japanese yen. Pound is the strongest pair today, coming into some strong resistance right here, right now. You can see it over there. Just following my mouse, you can see that whole area over here, providing that resistance, that touch right over to there, into there. Above here, is that something that is attractive on the pound US dollar? I don't know. It could be. Keep watching it, but I'm not going to highlight that pair. New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen. Oh, New Zealand dollar had this huge, man, look at that. Very fuzzy. But anyway, a huge breakout. We were just looking at the pound Japanese yen into an area of resistance. It looks like the New Zealand dollar Japanese yen is kind of clearing that last area, trading above it. Look at, let me focus in on what I'm focusing on so you could see it as well. All right, so I need to put this area over here, this of support right now. All right, I have these two touches here. Boom, boom. Another touch right there. You can see right now we've just pulled right back into that. Is that a place, a resumption off here, a place to look to go long? Maybe. Maybe. I don't know why the euro, hold on one second. The euro US dollar should not be flagged, but the euro Japanese yen, that's flagged right now for sure. All right. Well, I don't know, Juan, if there's a vaccine or not. There's definitely many vaccines in trials, for sure. This is New Zealand dollar, U.S. dollar. By the way, pay attention. This is catching my attention right now. It's a dollar pair, first of all, and all the other dollar pairs are what? Neutral. One of two things is either happening over here. Okay, this is the New Zealand dollar, US dollar. You can see why the euro US dollar and the Australian dollar, US dollar have not broken out there to yearly highs that the New Zealand dollar has, right? So if you all remember, I think it was the Canadian dollar, Japanese yen. Just follow my train of thought over here for 1 second. This over here, right over here, all right, right over here. You can see that at this point in time, the rest of the Japanese yen pairs were forming bearish structures, bearish ascending wedges, right? Which led to really big trade on the euro Japanese yen and on the Swiss franc Japanese yen. We were all tracking that, but the Canadian dollar Japanese yen was showing a bullish signal. The Canadian dollar Japanese yen was the one pair that was giving a different signal than the rest. And then what wound up happening, there was follow through towards that strong yen, and even the Canadian dollar, Japanese yen rolled over. Similar situation right now on the New Zealand dollar, US dollar, where the New Zealand dollar, US dollar is the only dollar pair, and I say that with an asterisk. I'm going to look at the pound US dollar in 1 second, and then the US dollar, Japanese yen. But so far of the pairs we looked at, it's the only pair that's showing a positive technical break over here, while the rest of its co-pairs are not showing bearish, but are showing neutral. So either if we get follow through against the dollar, the New Zealand dollar should be leaning, or the question is, does this revert to the mean and go back towards where the rest of the pairs are trading? Let's take a look at the pound US dollar, just to get a little bit of a feel right now, and then the US dollar, Japanese yen as well. So, also looking at the pound US dollar, and I see that the pound is outperforming the euro and the US dollar. Right? Into some resistance, but you can see that the pound is trading towards the top end of the ranges. Euro US dollar is not. It's in the middle over here. So is the Australian dollar, US dollar. All right, so there was one other pair I wanted to check out, the U.S. dollar, Japanese yen, trying to put all this together. And here you got an adverse signal again, where the dollar is actually making. So I see yen weakness, but I see that it's so weird. I'm seeing a mixed market. New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen, yen is stronger. So either which way, though, this right here, this trend line is being broken here to the upside. This resistance is being flipped into support. Mixed market. Mixed. We got something on the calendar. Thank you very much, by the way. Who said that out? Jonathan? Good luck, Jonathan. In the calendar we do have later today, we got Bank of New Zealand for their rate statement. More importantly, their forward-looking guidance, what they say at the press conference. We got a bunch of central bank speakers the rest of the week over there, Could that be the reason why the New Zealand dollar is lagging the yen today? Because of waiting for that rate statement to get out of the way? I don't know. It could be. I'm just seeing a very mixed market with different types of signals. By the way, always don't get caught up. I'm trying to get an overall view of the market and that feel for the market. I like when things are acting in symmetry, in unison, and when you're getting conflicting signals, well, that's a conflicting sign. Nothing else to say about it. But don't always revert back to making things as simple as possible, and that's simply trading what's happening on the chart of whatever instrument you're trading at the time. All right. Pound equity markets coming under pressure. Russell giving back lots of its gains. All right. Jordan would feel more comfortable if everything fell back into that range. And the reason I say that is because, again, we have a lot of unknowns right now, specifically over here in the United States where these indexes are trading. And regardless of, different conflicting, again, we don't know who won the election. That's still up for debate. Pound Canadian dollar we could take a look at for sure. Rob, thanks for being here. Pound Canadian dollar is kind of interesting in the fact that it is very clearly the symmetrical triangle is forming over here. It's been forming for quite a few months. I think that it's going to be the resolution of 2020, the Brexit, that is going to lead to the direction over here. This is something to definitely keep in mind. A breakout, you don't know which way it's going to break out, but a breakout to the downside or to the upside could lead to a big move. But there's nothing going on right now at all, meaning that you're stuck in this consolidation. Don't ever take a position hoping that it's going to go your way, right? Now, I think even a move towards the lower end of the support over there, I think even taking a trade off of that at this point, it doesn't make any more sense because we're narrowing down now. I would just wait for a breakout. It is Taco Tuesday. I'm not seeing any ways that are giving any indication that there's some nice tacos out there, but that's okay. What minute was the Bitcoin analysis? I use usually either the 8, 12, or 3-day. Right over here, 8, 12, or 3-day when it comes to Bitcoin. What is Antofagasta? Yeah, I think Zoom would have been a smart play if someone, got involved in Zoom before the pandemic. If you were smart enough to be able to see back in February what was happening and be able to put that together, that would have been a good play. For us, it was short S&Ps and short, Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar versus the Swiss franc and Japanese yen. A little bit easier than picking an individual stock that might benefit from the pandemic. But if you were that astute, then that would have been a fantastic play. Probably one of the plays of the year, but that's not how, Oh, yeah. Brandon, Taco Tuesday shirt. Oh, copper. Let's take a look at it. By the way, copper, just the first thing I noticed is that it's still trading well above $3. A big number over there for copper. What is copper pointing towards right now? Copper is pointing towards some future global growth. Interesting to see, by the way, in my mind right now. You guys have known I've avoided like the plague for the most part, the price action on oil. And right now, I'm paying attention over here. It's trying to knock up over here on these doors over there. Seeing copper bid. Is it because of the vaccine? I don't know. Trying to put it all together. We know who won the election. Trump would need. No, I don't. Look, I guess we need to talk about it, but that's no one knows who won the election or what the result's going to be. The courts need to decide. You know, I think that both China and Russia and Mexico have given very prudent, analysis where they're waiting also for the process. Listen, Graham, see you later. I don't know who won the election yet, and anyone that does, I think you could be right, but you could be jumping to a conclusion. You know, I don't have that type of clarity. Hopefully we will soon. Hopefully we will soon. Regardless, so long as Anyway, I didn't think there would be any discrepancy there. So what else? FX is kind of fuzzy today, right? Does everyone feel that fuzziness that I feel? I mean, this is all true. I mean, all I'm saying is we don't know yet who won the election. Right? I mean, that's just a true statement. Everyone who isn't in denial knows. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I just don't know who won personally. Ah, man, this is ridiculous. But this is not true either, right? This is not true. The Senate Majority Leader yesterday backed Trump and is looking for a recount. I mean, anyway, this is silly, guys. You can't, like, you guys could all have. Of course, you should form your own thoughts and have your own opinions, but I mean, facts are facts. Like, is there a vaccine? Well, they're working on a vaccine. It's not approved yet. It's not being distributed, but they're working on a vaccine. Do we have a winner of the? No, you could say that you have a projected winner. The media has projected that Biden has won, but Biden has not yet won the election, and it's being disputed. One of the things about the elections in the U.S. is it can't be disputed by the other party. It's being disputed. So anyone who thinks they have a crystal ball and knows the outcome of this, I think there are a lot of private equity firms that would really be interested in hiring you. Go for it. All right. So that's fun, guys. We got, however we got to that, So U.S. dollar, Canadian dollar, pay attention here. Bouncing off of that trendline support over there. Let's take a look at it. Interesting moves between the Canadian dollar and the Mexican peso. The Canadian dollar, I could say I didn't see that coming. The Mexican peso, I've actually bet on that happening. What happens from here? What the question came up? Could the Mexican government do? Well, they have really high interest rates, and all they could do is keep lowering them. But they can't devalue the peso versus the dollar. They've signed agreements with that. Yeah, Jonathan. Let's bring it back. Bitcoin breaking down. Let's look at Bitcoin. Let's look at Tesla. All right. Bitcoin breaking down. So Bitcoin is not doing anything from my vantage point, right? Bitcoin is, you could see what over here, this two little lines I put in for you, and you could see these lower highs and higher lows, and Bitcoin is in the middle consolidating. From here, it could actually go either up or down. It could break out or down, and it's 50-50. I have no way of knowing what is going to happen over there just yet. Guys, just can we let the whole Trump and Biden thing go right now for just a moment? Look, I get that, like, for a long time it's going to be part of the conversation until probably January, until someone's sworn in. And then I have also a feeling that no matter who wins, the other side is not going to be happy with that. It's a divided country, okay? It's a divided country, but let's just let that go. All right, like and that means just like me, I'm not gonna in this the rest of this live stream, not again, and you, the rest of this line stream, not again. Just no one comment about their thoughts on the election at this point going forward. That's already been put out there. All right. Please, everybody. That means like the only way we move on if you let it go. If you let it go. A good investment to make for a beginner, as we look here at the S&P 500, let's check that out. Eugene, guys, I've just asked everyone as nicely as possible, could we not mention Biden or Trump or who you thought won the election? All right, let's keep going. Any more active trade? S&P 500, right? You don't have an entry signal right here just yet. Is it possible you're going to resume out of this, giving you an entry signal? Absolutely. Is that a signal you could take? Yeah, for sure, right? For sure. That's a live trade over there. That's definitely just following price right now. So as far as a beginner, what investment you should make right now, this is actually the most important piece of advice that you could hear at this point in your career. Do not take anyone's advice ever in making an investment. There's no way that you're going to come out ahead. You could get lucky. That's possible. The worst thing that would happen was the first piece of advice you took that you were lucky. What you need to do is invest in yourself. The best good investment you can make is in yourself. That could be done simply by watching these YouTube videos and watching our analysis every day. That's a great place to start. Start by reading everything you can. Don't just follow or listen to one thing. Read as much as you can with an open mind. And then start educating yourself. Definitely, we got to remember we're here together. So, yes, Kips. First of all, Guadalajara is some of the, like, genuinely the nicest people on earth. It's a great place to visit. And Puerto Vallarta is very, very, very safe, as are all the resorts. No question about it. No question about it. Absolutely. All right, I didn't say anything about Kanye, right? So he's fully on the table, and I don't understand how he didn't win. It's rigged. I don't understand how he didn't win the election. That's good, Prodigal. That's where you got to start, right? You got to start there, and that's exactly where you want to go. All right, yeah, we're there, Wealth. We're perfectly safe. I would definitely tell you otherwise. So here we are. Actually, we have a good look. Yes, Puerto Vallarta is very safe, for sure. How do you stay happy as a trader? Oh, man. I mean, Enrico, first of all, you got to have that passion. I have to be honest, making money is you have to be detached in it as well, though. You have to be detached in it as well. Wow. No, I got a lot of close friends that are Brazilian. I've never been to myself. I would love to visit Brazil, for sure. All right. What else we want to look at? Let me check back in on the Euro Japanese yen. I don't know why I paused over there. So let me step back a second. I'm pausing here. I'm looking at the year. I'm coming off, I guess. You got to know your own strengths, your own weaknesses. You got to know what's going on with yourself. I know that all of last week I didn't trade. right? I know all last week I didn't take a trade. I'm coming in here. I see that the markets are very unclear, conflicting signals. So that means to me, all right, well, if I'm going to trade, I got to trade what's happening on the chart. It's like, you know, you got to, at one point, you got to close your eyes and jump, or jump with your eyes open, right? But I can't make the case for me not to take this signal on the Euro Japanese yen. I'm trying to make the case for not taking it, and I see a breakout over here, right, of that trend, the retest, resuming off of it. There's nothing in here that is giving me any type of warning signals. So I'm trying to figure out, well, why am I not getting involved in it, you know? And then also I look at the S&P 500, and I'm also saying, well, this here is definitely offering a conquering the market setup, but I don't like yesterday this 4.5% move to the upside, then being retraced. That the volatility here is high, that I couldn't see. Even still, erase that part of it, and I could say, well, technically, I'm still getting the setup, right? Either which way, I'm gonna move my position size, but. Is the Euro Japanese yen too extended? Long-term downtrend. Let's take a look at it. Let's answer these questions. So, listen. There's two ways. There's three. I mean, there's a few different ways to look at this, right? First of all, I have the bottom in March when the Fed acted, right? Yen actually went on stronger for a while, but this is this in an uptrend or a downtrend? Well, for me, that's in an uptrend. We're definitely in an uptrend over here. Now, was this a downward impulse? Clearly, no question about it. The true trend, though, is back positive as we've broken out here to the upside. So I feel very comfortable trading that to the upside. Is it too extended? Yeah. Oh, what is that? Is it too extended? Because look at that huge move, right? Look at that huge move. That was really, I guess, the vaccine, right? And it was a big move, but I don't feel like it's too extended. No. Nope. Al, absolutely. JC, I mean, have you seen the two videos on the Forex playlist? Because I gave two tutorials on the true trend. So if you haven't seen those, please do watch that first. I'm going to come back to that in 1 second. Yeah, I think we've seen huge in the signals in the past 6 weeks, 2 months of that correlation breaking right now. If we had a weaker gold, no question it's going to help Bitcoin. Stronger gold will put a little pressure on Bitcoin, but it's going to do its own thing. So on gold, it's very simple, right? I mean, gold right now, we've broken below this trend line over here. Yesterday in the afternoon update, I was like, well, we can't say that it's broken down, and only now we're coming in for a retest. So gold is completely unclear. No precedent about that. What's the link for the true trend? Jonathan, if you go to the channel playlist, I'll pull it up. So there's a link for the first video, the latest on the true trend. In that playlist is also another video on the true trend. Do watch them both. All right, let's talk about that. Stanley, we're gonna ask. We're gonna look at where I would put the stop loss on the Euro Japanese yen trade, and then I'm gonna come back and look at both the pound Japanese yen and the Canadian dollar Japanese yen. So let's do that, or let me do that, I shall say. So if I'm taking this long entry right here, right now on the Euro Japanese yen, and I actually, by the time I get off my place orders, I'm considering it, right? So where would I put my stop loss? For me, it's really simple, right? Two things that I tend to look at. First of all, the last impulse of the true trend that was down all the way down over here, right? I'm not putting my stop loss that far away. There's no way that I'm doing that. So what I'm looking at next is this last bit of broken support, right? So below that, that makes a lot of sense. That's also putting me right below the last swing low. It's a very tight stop loss, but it's also it's greater than 1-to-1 going into this next area of resistance. So that's where my stop loss would be on this trade. But I don't know why it's like the fish is just tugging out the line, but I don't think I got anything. Canadian dollar, Japanese yen. Also, you can see, just like on the Euro Japanese yen, that breakout of that trend line over there. This is a different trend line, though. All right. Into resistance. Man, I don't know. Let me look at the daily with you. And no, this is not something that I personally want to get involved in whatsoever. If you see something different than myself, then there it is. But I don't see it. And the pound Japanese yen. I mean, they're the worst. They're the worst. Anyone who picks a macro view and then sticks to it for the long term, hoping to be right every few years, is the worst. The worst. And Peter's interesting though because he knows a lot about money and understands it. He's a good sales guy. All right. With the mark, so this is Brian. There is, if you go to Real Vision on YouTube, I think the pinned video is about something about insolvency. That's a video to watch. I haven't seen it. It's a video to watch and consider if you're asking those types of questions. All right. So pound Japanese yen. Look at this. Keep in mind the pound is the strongest currency going into this session over here. Look at this. This looks like a big level, this resistance I have over here, right? Looks like a big level. It's a little fuzzy, though. I would stay far away from it. I would just stay far away from it. That's all I could say. Your audience is screwing with your trading. Michael, I don't know what context you're talking about or what you mean by that whatsoever. 2020, by the way, has been extraordinary. So extraordinary. I don't know what you're talking about. My audience, this group, the analysis that I do with you all, having to present it from an educator standpoint is nothing but the most enormous edge I have, and it really, really helps bring me clarity. On the pound Japanese yen you're talking about, 727. I don't know, when I look at the pound Japanese yen, I just see that we're coming up in towards this area of resistance. Above it, it looks like we could keep going, but there's just too much uncertainty on the pound that I don't want to be involved with it. That's all. Pound US dollar. No, I don't know any. I don't know any brokers in Russia. So, by the way, I thought there was a ton of FX brokers in Russia, a ton, but I don't know of any to recommend you. Um, I mean, very bullish price action we're seeing on the pound. We're seeing the New Zealand dollar, U.S. dollar, and the pound U.S. dollar leading way to the upside against the dollar. But the dollar is mixed, whether you're looking at the U.S. dollar stronger than the yen today, or you're looking at the Australian dollar and euro, both mixed versus the dollar as well. So, again, you could see what appears to be signal coming out of the pound. But again, you're not dealing with just like you're dealing with a huge market risk here. We don't know what's going to happen here with the Brexit. All I could say when it comes to the pound, the only thing that I have to add to the conversation is that if the UK leaves without a deal, I think that would be uber bullish for the pound. And if there's any immediate negative pricing to that, that could be an opportunity. But I don't see it. That's right, Darius. No, I thought the market was. I said yesterday the market was overreacting. Right? When the market was trading up here yesterday, I said on the morning live stream that the market overreacted. Now, a lot of people didn't like that comment or didn't understand it, but that's exactly what happened now, isn't it? The market overreacted, but now the market is finding its balance. Where's that balance? On the S&P, that balance is coming in right here. The balance is coming in on that what was resistance is now holding at support, right? This is the picture that the market is painting. So which way does it break up from here? Does it resume out of here, or does it fall back in? Well, that's what we're waiting to see. But that's clarity. It could go either way. That's clarity. Now, it's kind of nice having this peak up here. Why? Well, that's something if we resume out of here that the market is going to wind up wanting to test in that area. That's a significant risk to reward ratio you have over here. Where do you place your stop loss? Most traders go with the stop loss over here, right? Is that the right place to put the stop loss? Or do you go with maybe what is the smarter stop loss, right? Which is still like a 1.5. I would say 1.5, 1 3/4 risk reward going into there. There you go. I like that analogy. So on the DXY, look, I can't figure out what you're trying to figure out there in the DXY, but I could show you the DXY. I could show you what I'm seeing and just give you clarity on that. So let me do that. Oh. I'm going to come down to the daily time frame just so everyone can get a clear view on it. Notice the first time we broke out of this trend line over here, right? I was like, all right, this is a big trend change over here, looking now to be bullish on the dollar. We came into 94, right? And then all of a sudden we were rejected. We lost the trend line. And then I said, all right, well, now that's negated, definitely now holding that back to that bearish bias stance. And, what are we looking to happen? Well, we're looking at the yearly lows over here, possibly testing them and or breaking them. If we break out of here again, am I flipping back bullish? No, I don't want to get whipsawed. How do I protect myself from getting whipsawed? Well, I got to stay on the upside. At what point would I say, all right, this is the last swing high right here at 94, right? That resistance I have over there at 94. If we're able to come back above there again, then I'll feel good about flipping back to saying, all right, the move is now holding. Here's the breakout. We had a retest. It was ugly, but now we're making a new swing high. So then over here, I will become bullish on the dollar and say, all right, well, this move is actually taking hold. But right now, no. Right now, I see a fake out to the top. It was rejected. That occurred right over here. And then we falling back below this trend line. So now I am back, though, holding that bearish bias to the dollar. Although until I have a bearish bias, but until we start taking out that yearly low, we're not seeing any follow through. So between here and here, right? I don't see how to have any other read except that I have a bearish bias, but we're kind of just, continued to consolidate between those ranges. So, I mean, again, don't get caught up in fundamentals. It's going to keep you on not on the right side of the trade. But what on fundamentals? What should the dollar move? You can make a case either way, right? You could, and if you want to look at, if you really want to understand this, take some notes really quick, right? If you want to look at the bullish dollar case, going off of the fact that it's a dollar debt-based system, and at the end of the day, the system is designed so that there will be a shortage of dollars, and you could look at like the dollar milkshake theory, or you could listen to who else presents a good case for that. Probably the most radical view or the best view would be the dollar milkshake view, right? And there could be a time in the future, if we're experiencing dollar shortage problems, then you really want to be familiar with that whole scenario. That's not happening right now. I think that you could also look at Lynn Alden for the other side of the view of why there should be further continued pressure on the dollar at this point, and why we could be, whether it's 2, 3, or 4 years from now, looking at seeing signs of inflation. You can make a case right now for either which way. And I like to make things simple, right? It's a huge edge. So I follow price, but I could say, well, to me, there appears likely by February or around February that we might be seeing some stimulus. And that would be negative for the dollar. Either way, you should be aware of it. Either way, you should just be aware of it. Is the S&P 500 going to make new highs? When? Since yesterday? It just made new all-time highs yesterday, right? Yeah. I get kind of lost up on what the stock to flow model is predicting, whether it's 280,000 or 100. I'm not sure, right? But I think when he talks about 100,000, though, there's no question that model overshoots to the upside, big time. And I really, 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 really personally, this is one of the most important charts for me, and I attribute Plan B to it. So I want to share that with you. If we could find it. Looks like we got nonsense over here. Oh, man. Well, this is the chart I want to show you, but without the key. And this is one of the most important charts for me. This is a chart with how many more months to the next Bitcoin halving. Because Bitcoin does trade in a 4-year cycle, right? And it's surrounded by that halving event. And when I say one of the most important, you see these dark green circles over here? That is 15 more months to the next halving. Exactly. That is exactly when whoever's here with me on this channel, looking for whatever I have to add to the conversation, is going to be looking to accumulate back into Bitcoin. But the chart I wanted to show you is not there, but nevertheless, that's what I wanted to show you from it. I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I think Jeff Snyder and Steve, the guy that wears the paper Burger King hat. I don't think so. Look, if you're listening to those guys, you're really on the wrong side of the trade. That's all you could say, right? So I think you should listen to Lynn Alden and Luke Groman over Jeff Snyder and Steve Van Burger King. Yeah, you definitely. If you're not seeing, like James, just watch the Bitcoin playlist that I have presented. Watch the first 4 videos today, and then let me know if you don't see it anymore, because I outline it pretty clearly. Yep, with good reason. And again, you can't just pick a view and then keep people on the wrong side of the trade, shilling whatever you're shilling. You got to keep people on the right side of the market. That's all. So, where else are we at today, everybody? It's almost an hour and a half, right? James, that's awesome. But, you know, the Michael Saylor interview on Real Vision with Raoul Pal is a great interview, and the one that I've said is a must listen to. So start there, and understand, you know, someone who's invested $500 million into Bitcoin, what they're seeing and what they're thinking, and then do watch the Bitcoin playlist I provided. Yes. No. Yes, Charlie, definitely. Anytime I will check Forex Live anytime I want to know what's going on. As far as like it's a beautiful RSS feed. It's like a news wire, 100%. If I see a huge price spike all of a sudden, I'll go to Forex Live and I'll find out there first what happened. For Bitcoin, I look to Twitter. If you want to know what's something happened on Bitcoin, just go to Twitter. It's the best place. Kips's nickel, by the way, you could see that it is continued looking beautiful. And when I say that, it's because look what happened. If I come back to the 3-day chart, the one that I believe is appropriate to follow it on it because of the time preference of the trade, you could see that this was the resistance over here, right? This channel, after coming into it, back down and now resuming back out. It looks very, very beautiful over there. I talked about this over here on the Nasdaq this morning. It's a very similar situation, right? And I'm trying to talk you through it on why on the Nasdaq I would avoid it and wouldn't over here. Thanks, Digital Money. Appreciate that very much. I appreciate that. I think my favorite comment all year was, you know, the most important invisible voice on Bitcoin. For real, that meant a lot. On the Nasdaq over here, though, you have a similar situation, right? Let me pull it down. It's not similar. So what's not similar about it is that so let me can you guys just read my mind? Do we have the Neuralink yet or what? Really? So Gemma, let me pause here. Real set. The last thing I heard from Satoshi Flipper was that he was getting off Twitter that someone in his family had contacted COVID, and man, I have to say that any other trader I know, Satoshi Flipper, most resembled my view of TA. I think that what happened was that the negativity on Twitter got to him, and it just didn't make sense for him to deal with that in his life, which is really sad. I mean, he was a great asset out there. Yeah. So I haven't heard of any other account. What I think happened though is I just think that the negativity of other people who just weren't having the success that he's having was overwhelming for him. So Head Snack. What's up, brother? Head Snack, by the way, is the artist, the talent behind the intro to Conquering the Markets, and definitely grateful for that. Now, I also know he's been waiting on me to get some some content over to him, some voice tracks and some video to make a full length track. So I'm sorry, Giles, and that's it for us all. What a fun and interesting session. Me too. Thanks, brother. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think. No, I don't at all. Digital money, you know what I do? I'm looking at pricing of this resistance to come up to trend line. Every day, Monday through Friday, 9 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time. If you're not yet on the channel, there's a link below in the description for Telegram. Every time I go live or give an update in the afternoon, I send the link there to alert you. Absolutely. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for spending the time together. I'll speak to you later this afternoon. Have a beautiful day, everyone.